Welcome back to the 1 o'clock news. The former US Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, has died. He was 100. Mr. Kissinger served under Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford from 1973 to 1977. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1973 for his efforts to end the Vietnam War. While Mr. Kissinger was hailed for his brilliance and broad experience, others branded him a war criminal for his support for anti-communist dictatorships, especially in Latin America.
Henry Alfred Kissinger, a deft diplomat to his admirers, to his critics, a warmonger. Born into a Jewish family in Germany in 1923, he fled persecution to the United States when he was in his teens. He became an American citizen whilst working in US Army intelligence during World War II. Entering academia after the war, he graduated with a doctorate in 1954 and began a long career as a government advisor spanning the Eisenhower and Kennedy presidencies. His appointment to President Richard Nixon's National Security Council in 1968 was the start of almost a decade helping to shape US security and foreign policy, serving as both National Security Advisor and as Secretary of State. Originally a hardline hawk on Vietnam, Kissinger advocated heavy bombing in North Vietnam and in neighbouring Cambodia, provoking domestic and international outrage among opponents of the war. He later supported US withdrawal, and in 1973 he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize along with North Vietnam's Le Duc Tho for their talks to end the war. When the Nixon administration began its historic engagement with China, Kissinger played a prominent role, meeting Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai in 1971 before a presidential visit the following year. But just as he shared in Richard Nixon's triumphs, he was also tainted by his shame. A congressional committee in the aftermath of the Watergate scandal found he had ordered the tapping of his own subordinates' phones. More controversially, he strongly supported the US's role in the overthrow of Chile's democratically elected socialist president Salvador Allende. He later congratulated Chilean dictator General Augusto Pinochet for mounting the coup, during which Allende died in suspicious circumstances. Kissinger also repeatedly ignored his own civil servants' briefings, which raised human rights concerns about the Pinochet regime. Following his departure from the White House in 1977 after serving under Richard Nixon's successor Gerald Ford, Kissinger became a prolific writer, completing over a dozen books on diplomacy and history, as well as taking up roles in academia and private business. He's survived by his wife Nancy McGuinness and 2 children from a previous marriage.